The Jinn's feast, an Iftar invitation from the other world. It was during Ramadan, just before Maghrib, when Omar found himself lost in the desert outskirts of his village. He had gone to visit his uncle in a nearby town but took a wrong turn on his way back. His phone battery was dead, and the road he thought would lead him home only pulled him deeper into the barren landscape. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of crimson and gold. The distant call to prayer echoed from the village far behind him. His stomach growled, reminding him that he had been fasting all day. Just as he was about to panic, a flickering light appeared between the dunes. Curious and desperate, Omar walked toward it. As he approached, he saw an old wooden house standing alone in the middle of nowhere. A long table was set outside, covered with steaming plates of food, dates, soups, fresh bread, and meat that smelled divine. Around the table sat a group of men, dressed in old traditional clothing, their faces partially shadowed by the dim lanterns. One of them, an elderly man with piercing eyes, gestured for him to sit. "You must be hungry, son. Join us for Iftar." Something felt off. Omar couldn't shake the unease crawling up his spine, but the hunger gnawed at him. He hesitated before picking up a date, but just as he was about to eat, he noticed something chilling: the men weren't blinking. Not once had they moved in a natural way. Their smiles were too wide, their faces too still. His heartbeat quickened. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw something even worse: his own footprints in the sand leading away from the table, as if he had already walked away. But he was still standing there. Panic surged through him. He muttered under his breath, "Bismillah, in the name of Allah," and instantly, the scene before him wavered. The food on the table rotted in seconds, the men's faces distorted into something inhuman, and the old house behind them crumbled into darkness. Omar turned and ran as fast as he could, never looking back. He didn't stop until he reached the village, breathless and trembling. When he told the elders what had happened, they exchanged uneasy glances. One of them finally spoke, his voice low. "You were invited to the Jinn's feast. Had you taken a bite, you would have never returned." Omar never traveled that road again. And every Ramadan after, as the Maghrib call to prayer rang through the air, he whispered a silent prayer of gratitude, for being spared from a meal that would have cost him his soul.